Just like the internet, Bitcoin is being adopted gradually and then suddenly, all at once. You may have heard about something called the S-curve. The S-curve is a phenomenon that represents the process of how disruptive life-changing technologies grow to mass adoption. Gradually, then suddenly all at once. A disruptive technology that follows an S-curve starts with very small but steady adoption. Depending on how complicated, how available, the economic incentives, and so many more factors this technology has. The longer this small but steady growth continues. Given long enough, there comes a point where so many people adopted the technology and where the benefits of the technology are so clear to see that the pace of the adoption picks up. Extremely fast growth continues until most people have adopted the technology and it is completely integrated into society. After that, adoption continues to grow, but again at a gradual pace since it has reached most people already. With any disruptive technology, you see the same things happen. A great quote that people often bring up when discussing this is, "First they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, and then you win." Mahatma Gandhi. This quote applies to basically all disruptive technologies. If you are around my age, then you probably remember the first few smartphones. Or the beginning of YouTube. Or Uber. Like many 12-year-olds, I saw the opportunity of all the apps and games you could download on an iPhone 4. And most adults, past 40, did not see this opportunity, they simply ignored the possibilities of what we were doing with these phones. I remember adults laughing about the silly things we experimented with. Like making funny selfies and photoshopping them, editing videos, downloading music, games, or images. Parents laughed at and discouraged kids from pursuing a career as YouTube content creators or professional gamers. When things really started to pop, many ethical questions and concerns were raised from all industries about the internet. The internet and everything that lives on it has been brutally attacked. Things like security, safety, privacy, age restrictions, copyrights, and many more specific things you can think of how people are against the internet. A lot of parents put restrictions on how long their child could use whatever form of the internet. Isn't it ironic how your parents are constantly on their phones now? Maybe not the best example of "then you win," but the internet is one of the most fundamental pillars that our society is built on today. Everywhere you go, people are on their phones, doing infinitely different things. Although, it kind of seems that most people are on TikTok. Again, maybe not the "then you win" scenario that you would want, but nonetheless the disruptive technology called the internet has been adopted worldwide. Within 10 years, worldwide internet usage went from 0.05% in 1990 to almost 7% in 2000. After another 10 years, that percentage grew from 7% in 2000 to almost 29% in 2010. In 2023, 65% of the world uses the internet. In 33 years, we went from less than 3.000.000 internet users worldwide to 5.000.000.000 users. Stop and think about this type of growth. It should not only amaze you, but also humble you. Those 3 million people who used the internet in 1990 had no clue what the internet would look like in 2023. Do not underestimate or dismiss a technology. You really don't want to be lagging behind in disruptive technologies like some people are now, not even being able to search the internet on how to do anything. The people who can't or for some dumb reason refuse to use the internet are at a serious disadvantage. At the end of the S-curve, the people who have dismissed these disruptive technologies are playing catch-up, and although it is only a matter of time until everyone has adopted, it can be a slow, painful process. The last phase of the S-curve doesn't have to be as long, slow, and painful as it normally is. Unfortunately, it usually is. People just do not like to change, especially when things are already going well for them. Again, unfortunately, people in power are often more scared to lose their power instead of being wise enough to share their power. The easiest example of this is North Korea. There is no internet access for the citizens of North Korea. All power is centralized into one person. Unfortunately, Bitcoin doesn't fix everything. But it is fixing a lot of things, and the sooner we get to the end of the S-curve of adoption, the sooner we can focus on the next solution for the next problem. Gradually, then suddenly all at once. Bitcoin is being adopted worldwide at a gradually increasing pace. From the coffee stand guy in Westerpark, Amsterdam, to Bitcoin ATMs in Barcelona. From Bitcoin Beach in El Salvador to Bitcoin Akasi in South Africa. There are so many great projects, communities, businesses, and people who use Bitcoin. Bitcoin is growing, it just is. There is no point in denying the growth. I must also state my opinion that it is intellectually wrong and evil to say untruths, frame, or deny people access to Bitcoin. Since Bitcoin is being adopted the fastest by the people who need it the most, I always am very suspicious of people who only say bad things or simply tell lies about Bitcoin. There is nothing intellectual, honest, loving, or hopeful in saying that people all around the world should not be allowed to use Bitcoin because it uses too much energy. For a very long time, the people who had better technologies available stole power and resources from people who were less developed. In the year 2023, we have concluded that this is not the way. It is not good to destroy someone else's life for the benefit of your own. It is good to help each other so that all will benefit. Don't be the person saying that Bitcoin is wasting energy, while in fact, it is using wasted energy to power a bank in cyberspace run by incorruptible software, offering a global, affordable, simple and secure savings account to billions of people that don't have the option or desire to run their own hedge fund. Especially since the iPhone you use to buy a frappuccino that costs enough for a family in the Congo to survive a week is made by slaves. Go and calculate yourself. Although there is a case to be made that the minimum wage worker that makes your frappuccino is a debt slave, since we are all tied to our country's national debt. There is no discussion about whether the people mining cobalt in the Congo or the people assembling the phones are slaves or not. They are, and it is difficult to do something about it. So before we bash an idea that clearly has a lot of benefits for a lot of people, how about we just let hope do its thing? Anyone should be able to join Happy Hour